Hey, all sinners and saints. Today we're going to talk about Lucy Blackman. This is a story that I'm not sure if a lot of people have heard of. So it's kind of long, but we'll get there. Okay, I started researching on this case, and then I heard about a Netflix movie called Missing the Lucy Blackman Case. And it's a case that I believe I couldn't believe it because, doing the case and then there's actually a movie. Plus, I'm doing another one and there's a movie on it too. Before I start, be sure and get your memberships because I'm starting the members only videos and I'm dropping one tonight. So be sure and get those. But the movie, it covers, it's obviously a documentary. The case, so I immediately, excuse me, watched the documentary and it was good and it was very well done. It was definitely divided into a background of Lucy and the case investigation. However, I really don't feel like it highlighted the true extent of the crimes of the perpetrator. So you should definitely go watch the documentary. Um, but I'm going to tell you what Netflix didn't because what they are covering truly down to the core of the evil person called Joji Obara. Probably not saying that right. He was incredibly wealthy. Now I'm talking a multi-millionaire kind of wealthy with a lot of money comes power. And unfortunately, when you are a sick and twisted individual like Joji was, he was a he abused the power and he was able to get away with his crimes for decades. He possibly had one of the highest number of victims that I've ever come across. It is thought that the victim count could be as high as 400. He had some disturbing sexual fetishes. Some people even called him a playboy. But no, he is a disgusting sexual predator. And Joji's crimes eventually came to light when one of the victims was a British woman called Lucy Blackman, which is obviously the Netflix documentary, the Lucy Blackman case. And people thought that it was just Lucy Blackman being the only victim, but people were wrong. So there's a lot going on here. So let's dive in. And I want to give out a huge thank you today to all the people that subbed up and are watching this. But okay, this is going to be either the case of Lucy Blackman or Jojo Obera, Joji Obera. It's how you want to look at it. He was born on the 10th of August, 1952, which would make him a Leo. And he grew up in the city of Oske. Osaka, Japan. Bow, bow, bow. This is Lucy Blackman. It's Joji, Joji. And yes, we're going back to Japan. There's quite a few incidents there over there. Um, we have not been to Japan in like a few months, maybe. Joji Obara was accused of hundreds of rapes, and he was tried in the deaths of two foreigners. Joji is a Japanese serial rapist and killer who frequent the Roppongo district of Tokyo. It's actually a bar and a place. Integrating himself with the female ex pat employees of the area's numerous bars and nightclubs that feature paid interaction with hostesses. Now, let me tell you what the hostesses are. Um, they go in, they drink with the men. These are really rich men, really rich men. And, they go out with them, they entertain them, they get drinks bought for them, they talk with them. Um, I'm going to leave it at that because obviously things happen, but I don't want to say what I think that this could be. So, but that is what the hostesses are called over there. Because when I heard hostesses, I was like, oh, she seats people in a restaurant. Not saying that's what she done, and not saying that's what they all do, but I mean, if you're leaving with me and going to their homes, then that's probably what's going to take place. He was arrested in October 2000 for multiple rapes and deaths of two women, Lucy Blackman from Great Britain and Cartina Ridgway from Australia. Joji had a reputation as being a rich playboy and businessman from wealthy but shady background. His father was believed to be in the Japanese mafia or dealt with them, so that's what they're talking about. His case became the scandalous in both Japan and Great Britain and shed light on the exploitive and tawdry world of Tokyo's hostess bars. See what I'm saying? And the Baptism Japanese investigator tour and judicial systems. Joji bizarre behavior, extensive video collection, over 400 of those video collections of his victims, and refusal to adhere to the fundamental Japanese social mores concerning criminal defendant made him one of Japan's most sensational offenders. This is him. He was actually born Kim Sung Jong. He did legally change his name somewhere down the line. So I'm going to call him Joji. Otherwise, it's going to get confusing. And Joji was born to the parents of Korean descent who had immigrated to Japan after the Second World War. Now, Joji's parents had done very well for themselves, and that's an understatement. By the time Joji was born, they were already mega rich. Over the years, Joji's dad ran a couple businesses. He had set up a business selling what are known as Pocky-Co machines. This is what it is. And this is people playing them. SIDS. And I really hope that it's how you pronounce it. Pachinko machines, excuse me, are basically just vertical pinball machines. I've never heard of them before, but apparently they are particularly huge in Japan. However, it is believed that a lot of criminal activity and mafia activity are linked to the Pinko machines. And whilst there is no confirmed, it is strongly suspected that JoJo's dad was basically in business with gangs and the Japanese mafia. So JoJo's dad and his family, they were obviously mega rich, but I think a lot of the money didn't come from legal activities. Let's just say anyway, it's basically the family that made the money, and JoJo was born in it with a silver spoon in his mouth. I'm talking about like multi-millionaire already. He had grew up in a huge mansion with his family at home, and they had a staff. Um, for 6 years, when he was 6 years old, he was already attending the most prestigious schools because, of course, he did not. He did, and every day when JoJo returned home from school, he had three private tutors waiting on him to give him more education. He had learned how to speak multiple languages fluently. He had also learned how to play the violin and study music all day on Saturday. Got to be Saturday. He had more private education on Sunday. That's a lot for any child to be taken in. Jojo is believed to have killed British bar hostess Lucy Blackman, 21 years old. Lucy Blackman, a former British Airways stewardess, arrived in Japan on May 4th, 2000. Despite her entry into the country on a 90-day tourist visa, she intended on earning a living as a hostess, a female employee who works in Tokyo's area bars and nightclubs, getting paid to drink and socialize with male customers. Lucy was tall and blonde and features especially attractive to Japanese men who frequent such establishments. Less than 2 months later, Lucy vanished after accompanying a formal date known as a duhan. In the bar, customers pay to meet with the hostesses outside the club in social settings, usually dinner or similar type of interaction. However, the duhans can result in prostitution or more sinister outcomes. It would take 2 months to initially recollect investigation on the part of the Japanese police to eventually arrest JoJo for the murder of Lucy Blackman and the murder of Cartina Ridgway, an Australian national and a bar hostess JoJo interacted with in 1992. And this is where he lived. I can't say that. Okamia? Okama? Um, let's skip a little bit of his background because he was just rich. When JoJo was 17, his dad died suddenly, and his dad was only 44 years old when he died. Now, the exact cause of death is actually unknown and very, very suspicious, and it was suspected that because JoJo's dad was involved with the mafia, it was suspected that he probably was murdered by the Japanese mafia. However, what we do know is the following: his dad's death, and he inherited everything that his dad owned. He had so overnight he became a millionaire. Um, he had like 20 million, approximately 20 million US dollars. You can pick your jaw up off the ground. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, and I also watched a movie on this, and the movie is more of her side of the story, and so I'm gonna just make some bullet points about what was in the movie. Okay, Joji did have somebody that he or something that he really liked and he hung out with. This dog. That was his best friend. This is Katerine. Cat. What was her name? I apologize. Miss Ridgway. Jojo was suspected in the death of Carta Ridgway, which occurred 8 years before Lucy's disappearance. Miss Ridgway was 21-year-old model from Perth, Australia, who was also went to Tokyo to work in 1992, a full 8 years before Lucy Blackman disappeared. She initially wanted to teach English, but enjoyed earning the large amounts of money that you get paid as a hostess. Strange incident involving an older man. On Friday, February 14th, 1992, Ridgway went with other hostesses to a dinner with several customers, although she had been determined exactly as although it has never been determined exactly how Ridgway left with one of these men, her housemates, her sister Samantha among them. Then they received a strange message indicating she had gone away for the weekend, and on Monday morning they received another call. This time from a hospital telling them that Carter Carta 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 had been admitted. Rushing to her sister's bedside, Samantha was told that now she is unconscious and had was dropped off by an older man that was Japanese, and his name was Arkia Nashita, who claimed that Miss Ridgway had fallen ill after eating shellfish, and he provided hospital staff with her name and local phone number and left. As Miss Ridgway slipped into a coma, Nashita called Samantha several times, repeating the story of how Miss Ridgway had fallen ill eating raw shellfish, but he would always politely refuse to provide specific contact information. She was cremated without an autopsy. I'm all for cremated because it's cheap. That's how I want to be. But if there's any suspicion in any death, don't cremate people. That way, if they have to be exhumed, they can be, because once they're cremated, it's done. There's nothing they can do. Um, this is another picture of her. This is a picture of Lucy and her mother, Lucy and her father. She had a good relationship with both. And this is some of the pictures where, or one of them, I got two in here, of pictures from inside the bar for the hostesses. This was her sister. This is your dad putting up Miss. He would not let it die. Tony Blair actually came there, and he met with the police superintendent. I don't know what you would actually call him, and kind of raised the stakes again of, hey, Tony Blair from England is here, and um, the British Prime Minister wants an investigation on this, and so here's another picture from inside. Okay, I'm going to just give, like I said, bullet points. The dad got a call that his daughter went missing, had not been seen since leaving the bar where she worked. Tokyo was a sexual predator. Police had been looking for him. Um, Yoyogi Tokyo guest house manager contacted a journalist and stated that he wanted him to look into a girl that had been missing from the establishment where she had rented. July 3rd, she had been gone for 3 days. This was in 2000. Media said she had been kidnapped by a cult and wanting 1 million yen. Mysterious man called. Um, these are all things that they said happened whenever she went missing. Um, the superintendent in charge, Archaea. He was the Metropolitan Police. In the beginning, it was possible that she had run away. Timothy Blackman, her father, flew to Tokyo, and she went missing July 1st, 2000. Tim had a press conference, and the Pogany was a bar that Lucy worked at. Like I said, there was rich people that frequent this club, and it was only rich people. Um, Tim was cut out of the police loop. Uh, Blair had met with the police and got things going again. A report was made about the hostess. A customer had asked her to drive to the seaside. She fell asleep, and many hours later, she woke up and she felt like that she had been drugged. So there was reports made, and so one of the officers started going over the reports to look at them to see if there would be any evidence there. I'm gonna call it rope for the rope Tokyo, ropoga, row on. I don't know. There was many stories that were very similar and many clubs. It was more than one club. They were drug raped by a man with wealth. Had a nice car, wanted to go out and eat somewhere. He used drugs. Victim said that she felt as if she'd been drugged. The dad offered a reward of a million and a half yen for her return. A hostess reported the same story. Um, she had left and went back to Australia, and she actually had this person's name and the phone number. So she sent it to the cops. It was Yugi Honda and then the phone number, but she got mad at him, so she marked it out, but they held it up to the light and they got the number. Got his number. The records that they belonged to Lucy, like they got his phone records, and they realized that this number also had contacted Lucy. They asked the phone company to trace the call and the location. Antenna near Tokyo Tower, sixth floor. He had immense cars on the sixth floor. Ashton Martin, Mercedes, Lexus, any kind of car you could think of was up there. October 10th, 1997, Resort Apartments. And his name was JoJo. Two women singled out JoJo right away when they had a lineup. There was 400 videotapes of women comatose on a bed being assaulted. Not one tape of Lucy was found though. July 1st, 2000, JoJo met Lucy and headed to Zushi. On the way to Zushi, they stopped at the restaurant near a yacht harbor in Zushi Marina. I hope I'm saying that right. That evening around 5, they went to JoJo's apartment at the Zushi Marina. This is where Lucy's whereabouts become unknown. July 3rd, 2000, between the night of July 2nd and early morning of July 3rd, JoJo drove back to Tokyo. On July 4th, JoJo did a lot of shopping. On the 5th, he visited the Blue Sea Aberystwyth Apartments. I don't know. He owned a lot of properties. And the property that I'm speaking of that he went to that time is this one. Where's it at? Where's it at? The next day, a resident complained to the manager about noise coming from JoJo's apartment, had a receipt for a chainsaw, cement, and portable tent. July 4th, 2000, Tuesday, a cash receipt was found because he kept all these receipts. It was crazy. He kept all the receipts for everything. So that he just gave them a timeline of what he did. Um, they think that Lucy's body was transported from Zushi Marina to the Blue Sea. High probability that she was dismembered there. And he was charged with abduction, rape, resulting in death, disposal of Lucy's body, and rape resulting in death of Carta Ridgway. Only sufficient evidence to charge him with 8 additional cases. He got a life sentence for the Miss Ridgway and the 8 charges, but not for Lucy. The reason that they found Lucy is because they were running out of time. And this was him sitting in court. This is Carta Ridgway. This was her. This is where they were almost done searching. And one of the guys got this weird feeling and he went into this cave. And after he cleared everything back, he turned over an overturned bathtub, and he started digging because he's seen like worms and stuff that eat meat. And so he started digging and he found Lucy. And this is them bringing her out of the cave. And this is a memorial where some of the Japanese men go and pay their respects every year. And also her dad will go there, obviously. I want to try to give you a little bit more information because that was kind of the highlight of it. It's talking about the sheepdog that he was his close companion. But they could never prove that he actually murdered her, so he never got sentenced for that. But he's put away because of the other ones, but still, there's that of he didn't get convicted of this one. Okay. He had 12 weird facts about him. Try to get down to where he had over 400 videotapes of women. Like I said, there was none of Lucy, but it was like they were drugged and he was assaulting them sexually and raping them, scores of unconscious women. Strangely enough, they also discovered the frozen carcass of JoJo's beloved deceased German Shepherd dog covered with roses. Unfortunately, they did not find footage of Lucy Blackman. Along with his massive collection of videos, police also found an extensive journal in which Joji recorded his behavior and attitudes. He described the rape of his victims as conquer play and maintained that I cannot do women who are conscious. Clearly, Joji had deeply hostility beyond a compulsion to rape, maintaining that women are only good for sex. I will lie on them. I will seek revenge, revenge on the world. Foreign hostesses are all ugly, not in the sense of appearance, but in their minds. And this is where they put up the memorial. Yeah, he was using chloroform, and they think that maybe she overdosed on the chloroform. He used a lot of different names. I think that is it, and we will have another one shortly. Let me make sure. Anything else I would like to add? I think that's it. I just think it was sad that he didn't get charged for it. It's disheartening. I mean, this girl went over there, regardless of what the job was or what they did. This woman lost her life, and honestly, there was probably more than that lost their life, and we'll never know. But there was over 400 videos, so take it for what it's worth. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you later. And as always, bye.